welcome to Excuse My ADHD, a podcast for adults with or who think they may have ADHD. I'm your host, Jeanette, and this is my journey. Hello, and welcome to Excuse My ADHD, episode number 1, Everything I Am. I'm your host, Jeanette, and I am navigating ADHD one distraction at a time. Today's episode is about the ADHD symptoms that make me everything I am. So this is my story. I'd thought about in the beginning of starting this whole journey that I would start with the clinical definition of what ADHD was, and then one day on a Facebook post, somebody had posted something about how it was annoying that people compared ADHD to autism because ADHD is, I don't know, I guess they didn't feel like it was impairing at all. Which I get. Autism is much more impairing to a person than ADHD can be, I think, depending on where you lie on the spectrum. But I think the problem is that when people think about ADHD, they envision the little boy in the classroom that can't sit still, that can't quit talking, and that gets in trouble all the time. That's what I thought it was. I'm not going to lie. The first time my husband told me he thought I had ADHD, that's what I thought, and I thought he was crazy. That wasn't me. I wasn't that person. I could sit still. I could sit in my room when I was a teenager and literally read a book from the time I woke up until the time I went to bed, barely noticing anything until I had to go to the bathroom or I was so hungry I just had to eat. And that's the hyper-focus part of it. But I didn't know that. I didn't know that ADHD had something like 90 some odd symptoms that they list in the DSM. And the more I've read, the more I've learned, the more, information and knowledge I've gained, the more I've learned about myself, the more my whole life makes sense. And the more I am just taken aback by how little we as a general population and even the professionals seem to know about ADHD. I think instead of giving the clinical definition, I'm just going to walk you through all my symptoms, give you my story, and maybe you'll give me yours. So let's see. Getting excited. Yeah, get excited pretty easily. I get excited about something and I kind of become obsessed. And part of that might be because one of my friends' ADHD is OCD. Not the kind of OCD where you count things 100 times or you have to touch things a certain number of times or anything like that. It's just obsessive thoughts, I guess. And that with the ADHD, if I get excited about something, and probably the easiest, most recent would be the series Outlander. I got so obsessed with Outlander. I read every single book. There are 8 books and they're hundreds of pages long. Read them all in 2 months because I read it while I was at work. I read it when I was at stoplights. I read it when I was supposed to be playing with my kids. Hell, I read it when I should have been sleeping. I was so hyper-focused on it that not only did I read the books that quickly, I binged the show over and over again. I would Google everything about the cast or the clothes or the time period, the history of the time period that the show was being shot in. Everything I had to know. And it happens like that a lot of times. With projects too, if I get excited about a project, sewing was one. A year ago, 2 years ago now, I got a sewing machine. I was so excited. I was going to learn how to sew. I was going to sew my girls' clothes. I was going to make quilts. I was going to do all this stuff. Went and got a sewing machine with gift cards and money I got for Christmas. I started reading up on it. I started playing with some of the stitches on scrap fabric. I was going to be a sewer. And then all of a sudden, the excitement wears off and days go by, and there it sits in my laundry room, not a single completed project from what I wanted to do. I haven't made one piece of clothing for the girls. I started one. I have the material cut. It just needs to be sewn. I made them little purses when I was practicing, but I don't really count those as finished projects. I mean, they are, but they aren't. And then I've got scrapbook materials downstairs I've never opened. I went in through that phase when they had that whole Stampin' Up thing. People at work were making cards. Everything looked so cool, and I wanted to do it. And I was going to scrapbook everything from my vacations, for my kids. I was going to make them these awesome baby books. No, all that stuff is sitting in the basement in the bag that I bought it in, unopened. Has been for probably 10 years. Found it the other day. So it's stuff like that all the time. And then you have the memory. Oh, the memory is wonderful, isn't it? Remembering things. It's one of the biggest lies we tell ourselves, I think. At least that, and I've heard other people say that too. Of the lies we tell ourselves, it's that, oh, I'll remember that. I'll do that. I can remember to do that. I'll make that phone call. I'll do that thing. And it's not that it's not an important thing to us, because it is always an important thing. And it's not like I forget. I'll repeat it in my head. I'll go to the grocery store and I'll have a list of 4 things to get. And I'm going through the grocery store and I've got one thing left to get, and I'm repeating it over and over. It's like stamps. Because stamps you have to buy at the checkout. So I got everything else I needed. All 3 of the other things. I'm doing good. I'm so proud of myself. She's scanning everything at the checkout. I pay. I leave the store. I get in my car. Start driving to the house, and I remember, oh my God, I didn't get stamps. I thought about it the whole way through the store when I was standing in line to check out. And then I got distracted and it was gone. And it's like that all the time. It's not that we don't care or I don't care about things. I just can't hold them. And so now, because I know that, I've started keeping a bullet journal. And that could be a whole podcast episode of itself. But I've been writing everything down. I try and write everything down. If I have an appointment, if I need to do something on a certain date, I grab my book, I write it down, I take it with me everywhere. It was becoming a problem in my life, in my relationship. Every day at work, it was just a problem because people would tell me things. I would think I'd remember it. I'd go to write it down. I'd get a phone call, and then I'd completely lose what I was doing and what I was supposed to do. Gone. Another thing is, like, when I talk to people and they tell me details about their life, and then I see them again and I ask them questions and I get a look. And then I know it's because I've probably asked them that question before. And then when they tell me the answer or response, it's like, because I'm hearing it for the second time, it clicks. And then I get that, oh my God, foot in mouth moment that I realize way too late that yes, I already knew that. And they must think I'm an idiot, or that I just don't care enough to remember these things. And that's not it. It's the same with everything else. I just can't remember it. I can't remember a lot of things, and it sucks. Another thing, planning for the future. I know people, my husband included, that can think forward so many steps in the future and plan things out and think of things that I can't think of. And God, I wish I could do that. When I try and think of the future, it's like I'm looking at a blank wall, and I know there's stuff on the other side of it, and I just cannot get to it. A couple days, a week or 2, no problem. I can do that. I can plan that out because I can put it on a piece of paper and I can see it, and it's in the journal. My dates are there, and I can see, okay, this is what my week looks like. But you want me to plan something 5 years out in the future? There's just too many steps between now and achieving that goal. I don't know. It's like it short circuits my brain and it just does not compute. I can't compute it. It doesn't work. I just go blank. Oh, and then emotions. Oh my God. So emotional regulation. That's a big one. And my husband and I have gotten in, we'll get in arguments and they'll escalate so quickly because I'll get so emotionally charged and I can't stop myself. I know it's happening. I can't stop it. It's like it's coming. I can feel it coming, but I can't do anything about it. And confrontation is hard for me anyway, because I can't think. If we get in an argument about something, it'll stay with me for days because in the moment, I can't organize my thoughts enough to get a coherent thought out, to say what I really, truly need to say or want to say. And then 3 days later, after I've been chewing on it, I have my whole response to the whole argument in my head and it goes a completely different way. But because I get so overwhelmed and stressed and frustrated or angry, it's like the floodgates open and I'm crying and I don't know why I'm crying and I can't control the crying, or I'm just so frustrated that it just comes. It comes full speed ahead and I can't stop it. I guess I do have an example of one time when it was pretty funny and I laugh about it now. I was pregnant. I had twins and I was pregnant with my girls. I was at my parents' house on bed rest because the doctor thought my house was too far away in case something happened. And Disney's Meet the Robinsons come on. So I don't know if you know that, but I'll put a link in the show notes because it's just so funny. And there's this part where this T-Rex is chasing the people in the show. He gets Lewis cornered, but he's a T-Rex. T-Rexes have big heads and tiny arms. So he keeps hitting his head against the corner and then he stops and he says, I have a big head and little arms, and he's shaking his little bitty arms. It got me laughing, and once I started laughing, I couldn't stop. And I laughed until my side started to hurt, and then I started crying. And I couldn't stop crying and laughing as I'm laughing and I'm crying and I can't stop it, and it's just coming, and it was like several minutes of just uncontrollable laughing and crying. And, obviously it had to do with hormones, but the fact that I already have an emotional regulation problem, it just magnified it. And I think my parents and my brother probably taped it and still have it and make fun of me, but it's just that emotional regulation can be really hard to deal with when your brain shuts down and you can't have a good constructive discussion or argument. It makes communication hard. I'm not going to lie, it makes things hard. And then there's my short fuse. And I know most people I know would tell me I don't have a short fuse, but the people I work with, they know how short my fuse can be. But in general, on the day-to-day, things don't bother me that much. But there are a few buttons that I have that will just put me over the edge in a heartbeat. And the first one is driving. Construction while driving. Anything that disrupts me getting from point A to point B within the time period I think it should take. Slow drivers annoy me. Fast drivers. Crazy cut everyone off drivers. And it's like there's this goofy cartoon short that was done like 50 years ago. But every once in a while you can see it float around, and I don't remember when I ever watched it, probably on the Disney Channel at some point in time. But it's goofy, and he's this mild-mannered man. He's walking outside, but as soon as he gets in the car, he turns into Mr. Wheeler. Crazy driver, hits people, stamps it on his car. I'll put a link to that out there too, because it's pretty funny. But that's how I feel. I feel like once I get behind the car and I'm in those situations that I'm that frustrated, crazy, gotta get me out of here person. And it's the same way in crowded stores. I get so angry about having to wait in line but the funny thing about the waiting in line is that I can't deal with it at stores or things like that. But put me in an amusement park where I'm doing fun stuff and I'm okay. I don't mind waiting in line. I know there's going to be a line. It's just part of it. But anywhere else, I can't. No. A grocery store, Grocery stores are the devil. Grocery stores and malls at Christmas. Devil. That's it. Straight up. You get people in a grocery store with carts on the weekend. They see somebody they know. They take up the whole aisle. I can't get where I want to go. And I'm not kidding. I drive a cart probably the same way I drive a car. However, I will say I have gotten much better at driving the car. Thank you, Strattera and Wellbutrin. But, that's the thing. I get anxious about it, and then the anxious leads to frustration, and the frustration leads to anger, and before I know it, I'm a mess. I gotta get out. I can't deal with it. I'm out of there as fast as I can. If my kids are with me, I start getting frustrated and rushing them along too, and then they get frustrated, and it's just a whole mess. Needless to say, ClickList and Amazon Prime are my best friends. Procrastination. Yep, I am the queen of procrastination. If you're like me, you do your best work when you're under pressure and an impeding deadline. There is nothing like the rush of having an hour or a day to get something done, even though you've known since the beginning of the semester that this project was due, or you've known for a month at work that you had to get this done. But if it's something you don't want to do, or it's something with too many steps, it gets pushed aside. It's like, I don't want to deal with this. I can't deal with this right now. It's going away. An example from college, I don't even know how I made it through college, because everything I did, I procrastinated. I can't. Studying, I do not know how to study like most normal people do. I can't do it. I've never been able to do it. But waiting to the last minute and procrastinating on homework, I am the queen of that. Probably the biggest example I have, because it sticks with me so much, is an ethics class I had. I had to write a paper. It was a 13-page research paper, something about ethics in the history of pharmaceuticals, pharmaceutical ethics or something like that. And I did all this research about the beginning of pharmaceutical drugs back in the 1800s and labels and all of this, that, and the other thing. 13 pages. I got it done in one day. I can't remember if I took the day off or I had the day off, but I spent the entire day doing nothing but that paper. I was in the zone. I had note cards everywhere. I had books everywhere. I had articles everywhere. I was highlighting and underlining and typing. I got it done right before my husband and my son came home. Saved, ready to go. All I had to do was submit it. Go in later, do a final quick review to submit. Can't find it. Not on the computer. I checked the jump drive. It's empty. Nothing there. I had tons of files on there, but they were gone. I don't know what happened, what I did, how it happened, but they were gone. So, frantically, I emailed my professor. I told her what happened. She gave me 24 hours to get it in. She's like, I'm going to give you this chance. If you did this paper like you say you did, you should be able to redo it in 24 hours. So fine, sure, yeah, I did it. I turned my 13-page paper in. But the best part was, not only did I screw that up, saving it, and have to rewrite it, but after I turned it in, I found out that not only was it a 13-page paper, it was a 13-page double-spaced paper. So I think you probably know where this is going. My 13-page paper was single-spaced. So not only did I type a 13-page single-spaced paper, I really typed a 26-page double-spaced paper. Because in my rush to get everything done, I read through the instructions super quick and didn't pay attention to those details and was kicking myself for it until I got my grade. And it was a good grade, I think. I can't remember, but that is probably my biggest example of that. But it was the same story, in work. But it didn't happen until I got a desk job because I worked at McDonald's, I worked in hotels, I worked retail, worked in another hotel, worked at a bank. All of those, I was constantly doing stuff. I didn't get bored. And once I got a desk job and things didn't have to be done right then and right there, I had that time to push things away and not do them right now. And boy, did I ever push things away. I would push them away and forget about them until they were due, or someone would follow up with me until they were getting frustrated. I'd make excuses. And I'm not even going to lie. I mean, yeah, I am good at what I do, but there are still times when I catch myself procrastinating and I try really hard not to anymore. And then you got, housework. Same thing. Hate doing ironing. It's tedious, it's boring, can't stand it. I would rather clean a bathroom than iron. So, wash clothes, hang them up. Anything that needed to be ironed would sit there and sit there and sit there. And I'm not kidding you. There would be shirts downstairs in my laundry room for months because I did not want to iron them. And they would sit there until either I or my husband wanted to wear them. And then I would iron it. And then it would get washed and hung up and sit there again for more months until we wanted to wear it again. Or weeks. Whatever came up. And then so, speaking of bathrooms, get on my ADHD tangents, I guess that's another symptom, is like when doing housework. It's something actually we used to argue about because, my husband would think, it should only take this long to clean the house. Why does it take you so long to clean the house? And I'm like, that's just how long it takes. But after being diagnosed and reading like Russell Barkley's Taking Charge of Adult ADHD and Ed Hallowell's Driven to Distraction, I realize now that was one of my symptoms. I would start in the bathroom and I would clean the tub and I'd clean the sink, and then I'd notice there was something in the bathroom that would need to go in the laundry. So I'd take it and put it in the laundry. Well, the clothes basket would be full. So, okay, I need to take this clothes basket and just go ahead and do this load of laundry. And I'd be in the laundry room and I'd see something of the girls that would need to, or my sons that would need to be put up in their room. So let's say I had a bow for the girls. I'd take the bow upstairs with me on my way back to the bathroom, but then all their bows are a mess, so I gotta organize those. And their closet's a mess, so I need to organize that too. All the time, bathroom still sitting there, half done. Clothes in the laundry. I'm organizing a closet. Well, my closet needs to be organized too. Then I'm organizing my closet. And then I'm sorting through things and I'm spring cleaning, getting Goodwill stuff ready. And the Goodwill stuff reminds me of something else I need to do. And then I go down into the kitchen and there's dishes sitting there. I need to go and load the dishwasher. So I load the dishwasher. So I've got laundry going. I'm loading a dishwasher. I'm organizing closets and getting Goodwill stuff ready. Bathroom still sitting there. In the kitchen, get the dishes loaded in the dishwasher. Well, there's a couple of pots and pans. I'll just wash those up real quick. Start the water, get the bubbles going, put the stuff in the water. Turn around, see something. Oh, this needs to go upstairs. Walk upstairs. Oh yeah, I need to finish cleaning the bathroom. Clean the bathroom. All the while, I've got a sink full of dishes and a sink full of water I haven't even touched. And then it just goes like that all day until when my husband comes home expects a fully clean house, and I've done parts of every room, but not one whole room. And I always thought that's just, that was the difference between me and my husband, is that I deep cleaned things and he didn't. But the truth was, my ADHD brain was getting distracted. And my OCD brain was, oh, this grout needs to be cleaned. I need to get a Q-tip and clean this. I need to clean this. I need to clean that. I need to clean this. And that was my deep clean. But I would do that in bits and pieces everywhere. But nothing was fully done. So, yeah. And I guess that's kind of the big ones. Another one is obviously insomnia. The sleep issue goes back for as long as I can remember. I remember my mom and we'd stay up so late together because she used to work night shift, and we'd stay up late, middle of the night. Oh, it would sound really good. Fettuccine Alfredo. Do we got the stuff to make it? No. You want to go to Walmart? Sure. And off we'd go. And of course, when you go to Walmart, you can't just come out with what you need. You come out with like 10 bags. And we would. And we'd come back and we'd make fettuccine Alfredo and sit up and watch Ren and Stimpy or Chris Rock or just whatever was on, some movie. And that was fun and it was normal, but it was my ADHD too. That impulsivity. God, that impulsivity gets me in trouble. So many times it's gotten me in trouble with credit cards and money, with guys, with just so many things. It got me in so much trouble when I was a kid, just being impulsive and doing stupid crap I knew I wasn't supposed to do. And then I would be asked, my dad would ask me, why did you do that? Why are you doing that? And my answer was always, I don't know. Because I didn't know what to say. I knew I wasn't supposed to do it, but I did it anyway. But I didn't know why. And, most parents, that's not a good enough explanation, but it's all I had. And then, I would be told that I was lying, but I didn't know. But you know what? My parents didn't know that I had ADHD and that was what that was. And so it just went on like that. I would do stupid, impulsive crap that I wasn't supposed to do and get in trouble for it like most kids would. And it was just a bad cycle. Luckily, I mostly grew out of that. I still do impulsive things, but not like I did when I was in high school, middle school. And the meds help with that tremendously. But yeah, so I think that's most of it. I'm sure I'm forgetting something. I'll probably think of it later, but I want to know what your ADHD symptoms are and what your story is. So for the next episode, just send me a message. Tell me you want to talk and let's get connected and we'll do a story.
Thank you for listening to Excuse My ADHD. If you like what you hear, don't forget to please subscribe, rate, and leave an awesome review. Show notes and social media links are available at www.excusemyadhd.com. Until next time.